I got the story in front of me. This was posted yesterday by Windows Central. It was written by Sean Endicott, I believe that's how it says. And the lead you know, story is want to buy an Xbox VR headset? Question mark. You'll be able to get one soon. Well, sort of. Now, he goes on to say Microsoft will be one of the first companies to help create a device running the new program known as Meta Horizon OS. Now, in the what you need to know section, which of course we're going to use for this conversation, Meta just announced that their operating system that powers its popular virtual reality headsets will be available to other manufacturers. Microsoft, Asus, and Lenovo. Lenovo are among the manufacturers that will produce device running the Meta Horizon OS. It also goes on to say that Meta and Microsoft will be working together to create a limited edition Meta Quest that's inspired by Xbox. And you know what? I am freaking buying that, even though I have a Meta Quest 3 that I use 3 days a week to exercise. I will be buying that. I don't even care. The last part of what you need to know, it goes on to say this, ladies and gentlemen. Microsoft and Meta already partnered together to get Xbox xCloud Gaming to work on MetaQuest, allowing Game Pass subscribers to stream games to the VR headset. Now, I have the beta downloaded. I'm going to be honest with you, as a shameful host, I have not used it as of yet. I only use my MetaQuest 3 for working out. You know, I'm trying to make sure that I'm looking proper and in shape for all the pictures I intend to take in June. So I want to make sure I'm in good shape. Let's talk about this because, again, it's not technically the VR that Phil Spencer was promised to all its fans all those years ago, but it is a collaboration, and we don't know where it could go. They are working together. There is going to be an Xbox-inspired version of the MetaQuest 3. Like I said, I'm there day one. Let's get your hot takes on this.
Oh, well, you didn't. I was going to say, did you call for me or for Jamie?
Yeah, I call for you, Umbra. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
my bad. Well, see, now this is going to sound pessimistic because I'm not a fan of VR at all.
I know.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it kind of succinct. I'll say this: I do not care for VR. It does nothing for me. But for those who do enjoy it, I think if you're an Xbox fan, this is definitely seems at least exciting. For me, when I heard it, even I was like, oh, it kind of piqued my interest. However, what stopped my interest was that fact that it was just a branded thing. It's not like it's an official VR thing for Xbox. So any excitement that I may have tried to have was like quickly diminished right after I saw that detail. So, but to those who are a fan of VR and you want something to kind of, call back to the Xbox in general because you're a fan of Xbox branding or whatever it is, then maybe this is really right for you. That's my personal takeaway from it. Again, it's just not for me, so I don't really have much more to offer on a subject, I suppose, honestly. But I'll just say that maybe going forward, maybe that might be something Microsoft might want to look into of adding as far as it goes to that support for VR. Maybe the next one will have it, I'm going to guess, especially if we're hearing what we're hearing about, the whole idea of the expanded style of console that they're going to have, at least with the SKUs that they're going to bring allegedly, and having access to Steam and all that, then it probably would behoove them. And yes, I do mean it exactly as you all took it. It probably would behoove them to have access to a VR. So maybe they'll actually get into it at that point. So yeah, if you guys are into VR and you like Microsoft enough, maybe this is right for you.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Like for instance, Dark Zone's 2525 in the chat, who's here all the time. So Dark Zone, welcome as always. He said that we have talked about the failings of VR. What makes this so special? Well, like I explained to him in the chat earlier, the PlayStation VR 2.0 is a straight up failure. It's a failure because PlayStation has abandoned it. They closed the studio that actually made VR games, and they stopped production because they're sitting on shelves. So, like many times before it, Sony has killed their own product. Not even out of what is it? Is it even a year yet that it's out? So technically that's dead. Is anyone from PC going to actually have to going to invest in it? Well, we'll see. Because from what it was explained to me, with Kay Asante is in the chat, he said in order to use the actual headset on your PC, you need a PlayStation 5 in order to sync it. I didn't. Again, he's a tech guy. If that in fact is the case, then what's the point? If you didn't buy it with you and you had a PS5, you're not going to buy it to play to hook it up to your PS5 then to play it on your PC. It's just dumb. So it's a dead device. This just allows another location for you to play your games. Now, one of the things that I think Microsoft is working towards is the fact that they want you to be able to not only play Xbox Game Pass everywhere, they're going to want you to, and we've been asking for this, to be able to play your games that you have purchased. So your ownable games, meaning that all of the games that you have paid for that are on your account, you're going to be able to play those everywhere. This is just another place to play it. You're playing it on your PC, you're playing it on your handheld, you're playing it on your TV, and of course, the most important place for me is the console. But you're also going to be able to play these games in VR. Now, are they going to be traditional VR? Well, I don't think so, but I think it is going to be like you put it on, your headset on, and you're playing in this big theater and this monster screen is in front of you. That is kind of dope. But it's just an addition, not a feature. And I think that is pretty dope. And like I said, I'm in for having more places to play. Jamie, let's talk about this, man. Again, maybe not the biggest story of the world, and obviously, gaming news isn't as prevalent as it's been. Where it's going to be in May with the release of Hellblade 2, and of course in June with the big showcase. But VR, Xbox Game Pass in beta coming to VR is a big thing, but also having a branded Xbox says that maybe there might be something more to this.
Well, when it comes to VR, I mean, like Umbra said, I'm not interested. The thing, but I still know a lot about it. Unfortunately, when it comes to VR, for me, it's the kind of situation where if I put a headset on, I need a bucket next to me. So I'm kind of out of that. But Oculus, and I'm going to keep calling them Oculus, they've been partnered with Xbox for years now. They put the Xbox controller bundled with the headset, I think, like 7 years ago or something. It was a big deal then for the Oculus platform and now MetaQuest. And I think the gaming centric folk will lean towards the Xbox version of this headset. It's not going to be for Xbox gamers. We live in an age where Xbox is beyond the console. You have Xbox consoles. There's the Xbox app on PC. There's Xbox streaming on devices. So it's like if people think this is going to be an Xbox headset for the Xbox, it's not that. I've seen a lot of that floating about for the past 24 hours. But it just goes to show that Microsoft, they are continuing to branch out and, let other companies do what they want, kind of with the Xbox branding. And I think it's interesting, VR is in a weird space at the minute because it's this weird, it's like endless cycle where people aren't buying VR headsets for gaming because there's no AAA content, and there's no AAA content coming to VR headsets because there's not enough VR headsets out there. So it's like this endless loop. And like PlayStation, like their headset is super advanced, it's really cool. But the problem is it's cool tech. The content isn't there though. Nobody's coming out with like this brand new like AAA release for this headset. And like everything I see on VR headsets, the all first person shooters or all these games where, hey, you can balance this cube on a different cube, a different size. And it's like, that's cool and all. The all VR to me at the minute, outside of 2 games I've seen, are all tech demos. Like very cool things. But I think that until we get to the point where it is like Ready Player One, which is years away, I don't think there's much interest in it. Like PlayStation, they shut down studios, they cancelled games, and like, what is the push for VR? I've seen 2 games on VR that look cool, and that's Medal of Honor by Respawn and Half-Life Alyx, but outside of that, nothing else looks really that good. And until something changes, I don't know if there's going to be much of an interest. Like Microsoft promised back in the day, hey, the Xbox, Scorpio was going to have high fidelity VR, and then that never happened. And then a chunk of the fan base revolted and said, hey, we were lied to, and that. But the truth is, there's no VR content out there worth talking about. You do have these ports like Resident Evil 4, and I think San Andreas is coming to VR at some point, or it might already be there. But like outside of these offshoot VR versions of games, nobody's talking about VR. The PlayStation VR costs more than the console. So it's like, yeah, that's a big ask for people. But at least if you got an Oculus and you can do wireless gameplay, that's cool. But until something changes in the VR space, I don't really think it's much of an interesting topic. Will it be cool to see an Xbox branded Oculus Quest? Yeah. Will I use one? No. I don't like my innards coming out. But like
that's great. I love it.
If one day gets to a point where we use a Neuralink to like save like images instead of using like the problem is the headset. The headset's uncomfortable. Your eyeballs boil. They need to put a little fan on top so your face doesn't melt, and you want to throw up. But I don't think VR is interested at the minute because the content isn't there.
I've got ammo.